Okay, so we've got the first sales call of October. We're going to be talking about gathering patient testimonials with Shania. So I'll let you take it away, Shania.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, we're going to specifically be delving into how testimonials speed up trust. And I just want to give a shout out to kind of where this concept stemmed from and why I thought it would be good to speak on it. So, our Win with Paid Ads coach, Ashley Brock, talks about the beauty of testimonials and how important they are. And a lot of these concepts that we're going to go over today are derived from her content directly. So, just wanted to make sure that giving her a shout out. If you want to go listen to her podcast, feel free. So I just want to ask both of you before we get rolling today, how do you now gather testimonials and how frequently do you do that?
Not very much at all.
Okay.
Same.
Kelly?
Like,
But
Yeah.
no.
but
Okay.
I do understand that they would be valuable, but not.
Good.
Yeah, I gather. That's not true. So I gather them, right? How did you do today? How did you like it? Could you please tell the doctor that you had a good
Thank
experience?
you. Yes.
That type of
Hmm.
gathering testimonials, but not. Hey, could you go to Google and post it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And that is why we're having this conversation today. So thank you guys both so much for sharing. And I definitely am in line. I could be better too. It's like we get that verbal transaction, but then we don't have any image to show for it or post it on our, Google or our landing page.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over some key concepts today, specifically 5 of them. We're going to just go in order. So why they matter. So that was great. Obviously, we know they matter, but why do they matter? So they they being the testimonials can increase our conversion rate by up to 270%. 270%. That is a ton, right? Now, why these testimonials can do that is because they build trust, right? It's like when, you or I would go on Amazon, we're going to refer a patient to a foam roller that we think would be beneficial for them. We want to make sure it's got like 2,000 reviews, right? We're not going to pick the one that has 2, even though it might be 2 5 stars. We're probably going to pick the one that has 2,000, even though it's a 4-star, right? So
Yep.
more testimonials are better. And there was a study that showed that 92% of people read those online reviews before making a purchase. So if I'm going to seek out a provider and say, I go look at Kelly and then I go look at Mike, I want to see how many reviews each of those providers have in that region. And that's going to kind of make my decision. So as clinicians, we just want to make sure that we know why they matter. Because sometimes it's easy to be like, yeah, they love me. They're an awesome patient. I know they'll come back. I know they'll tell their friends and family. But another stat that really stood out to me, 88% of consumers trust testimonials as much as their friends and family. Can you imagine trusting someone else's word that you don't even know as much as your friends and family? No one?
Oh.
No one has a comment? Yeah, no, that I was like, what?
No,
So
I like am not saying anything because I'm like, yeah, I totally believe that. I actually trust a testimonial more than my friend. Like
Me
my
too. It's my friends and family sometimes make goofy decisions.
Yeah, so I'm gonna trust a stranger, like Mike just said. But I totally
good.
am. Well, and also like when they don't know the context, like I feel like it could be more objective because like if a friend is going to, I'm like, do they have another reason to like push me towards this? Of course,
Hmm.
reviews, I guess, could do that. But I don't know.
Right.
It's like it's a true objective measure of their subjective sometimes experience, if that makes
Yes. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's a different perspective, which is really good. And I think like I'm always skeptical too. Like if someone refers me, I'm like, I want to go read the reviews first before I pull the trigger. So I think like we gotta just remember too that like people are gonna look and they are gonna read. So we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is reputable. And if you're watching this as a provider, like we can go on landing pages on our website and look at those testimonials if you provided them to the team. So if you have not done that, that would be great. And if you have a business of yourself and you're watching this and you don't gather testimonials, be sure to do that. Hi, Mary. All
Hello,
right.
Mary.
So next, how do we get them? So we just said, we were like, hey, how'd you like our service? Awesome. And then that's it, right? End of transaction. So big things of how we get them and how we like store them more so we're going to start with is like organizing them in a way like on our phone or Google Drive. So Kelly, if you want to speak to, I know you said sometimes, right? It's just the verbal, but I know you have solid reviews on Google and things. So like if a patient were to text you and you post it on Instagram, like what is your mode of storage right now?
Well, okay, so if they text me a review, is that what
Yes.
you're asking? Yes, and that's what I was thinking too. Like I have the Google reviews and I will periodically go into my Google business page and like say, like you can click request a review. And if I'm following up with a patient, I'll be like, wanted to see how your knee was after that race. Could you also send a review? And I'll put a link in an email. However, I have been lately screenshotting because patients will text you like these fun little things like I had someone
Mhm.
text me from she was in Paris and she was like, I was able to walk on my trip. She's 6 weeks post-op. I was able to walk, 5 miles a day plus. I had to get up and off the floor. And all I could think about was how well you did for my PT, that kind of stuff. And so I'll
That's
screenshot
amazing.
it and then I'll scratch out names.
Hmm.
Then what I've been trying to do is post them in my stories
Hmm.
and saving them in my highlights. So, you
That's
go
great.
to stories and then the highlights that when they pull up your Instagram page, there's like, questions, reviews, treatments. And so I'll put them all there. But it also is something like if you can still do that, like you can add those all the time. Like even if you missed your shot, I guess would be
Yes.
the thing.
Yes, I love that. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't know is like, I know I get caught up this a lot. Like, we'll post on our Instagram or on our feed, and we'll forget to put it in the highlight. And we're like, oh, now that highlight doesn't have that. Well, actually, Instagram and Facebook, I'm pretty sure, but mainly Instagram was where you're going to do the highlights. You can go back and actually, if it was a story, you can add it to the highlight later, which is really cool. So, kind of keep that little nugget in your back pocket. I love that, Kelly. And then I think the big thing too is like we always forget like it's not always just screenshots, but like video testimonials too. So we'll delve into that a little bit, kind of the how we ask for them. I'm going to get into that more. But I just want you guys to know that there's a couple ways. So Kelly, you did great with like the screenshots on the phone. Like we can have a folder and then you put them in an external source where they're also stored, which is that Instagram and highlight. I think the two spot storage is prime, right? Because we never know if our phone is going to turn into a brick or something. But I think Google Drive is another source. So if you don't post them directly to an entity like, Instagram or Facebook, maybe put them in a Google Drive, whether you do that from your phone directly and then you can have it on your computer or PC, or you airdrop them to that device just so there's two spots where they are, because these are truly like gold. I know I want to go back to this number, like 270%. If anyone told me I would increase my conversions by that a long time ago, I think I would have started collecting testimonials sooner. Would you guys agree?
Oh, 20 years ago? We had so many.
Yeah.
No, it's
Now,
good. And
do you ever just have them go right to Google reviews
yes, and
instead
we're
of
actually
giving
going to
them
get
to
into
you?
that. Yes,
Okay,
we're going to get into that in point five, Mike. So that's great. I'm going to
sorry.
table that for now. But yes, 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 and yes. So one last thing I want to touch on before I move into the next section is weekly organization. Because I know I have so many screenshots on my phone, they look like a hot mess express. So I think like once a week, if we can go through whether it's on our phone or on our computer, or even just take a peek at Google and see who left you a new review that week and kind of organize those so you don't have to like be like, I have like 3 months worth of stuff and it's all over. I think that becomes a little bit more laborious and frustrating, right? Like, I know it's easy, like we screenshot on the desktop and you got a desktop full of screenshots, but that's a little bit daunting when you go back and want to use them, whether that be on a post or in a story or something. So I would just encourage everyone, if you're open to it, to just try to organize them weekly. And if it's twice a month, that's fine. But just some kind of organization system. Does that make
You
sense?
also want to respond to your Google reviews. That's a big deal as far as like
Yes.
serving up your business page. Even if it's a not so great one, like be sure you talk back to them and be like, hey, you said you had to wait a long time. Thank you so much for telling us about that. And we are really putting actions into place to reduce that wait time, or even like respond, like acknowledge, because I feel like a review that's not great, but also has a response from the provider is
Mhm.
it's almost just as impactful as a great one, because that means they're like listening, right? Because if
Yes.
they're all 5 stars, it's like, okay, guys, like what is it, all your aunts and uncles and your
Yeah.
dads you know? Like
Right.
like
Yeah.
just a real review and be like, hey, yeah, I'm working towards that. I recently put up like a good review from a patient, but like it wasn't perfect. And it was kind of
Hmm.
like, hey, I love this review because it just shows like it is a process.
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's not instantaneous and it's not always
Yeah.
5 stars walking out the door.
Love that. That's genius. And yeah, I'm actually gonna toot your horn, Kelly, as well as Brandon's when we get into the Google business profile, because I pulled a lot of reviews that you all will see on our social coming up here in a few days, about some reviews, and then Erica as well. So big things with that, and that is awesome. I think response just shows you're listening. So like obviously when someone texts you, like build rapport. It's not just thanks to review, bye. Like make sure you follow up with them, and maybe it's multiple screenshots in a post. So I think the big thing is now, how do we ask for them? So Mike and Kelly, you had voiced like, yes, I want to ask like, hey, how you doing? How you feeling after the session? Well, sometimes it's hard to like quote unquote pry, right? So there's two ways, automatically and personally. So automatically could be sending out the satisfaction survey in Jane. Who's all used that so far? No, that's okay. It's okay. No, everyone's looking at me like, what? Okay.
Just I said I know it's in there.
Yeah. Okay. So that we do have a satisfaction survey in Jane. I just want to put that out there. And I'm not saying you have to use this, and I have no tie emotionally, or just like you have to use this. This is the way. You can make this your own. I just think sometimes when we click a button in email, it takes 2 seconds. So that is a nice way to hit on my next point, which is getting feedback at the beginning, middle, and end. So Jane would be a way where you could like send that out to them like after the eval and be like, hey, how'd you like it? They can boop, 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 fill in the dots, done. And then in the middle of their course of care. So if you sell them an 8-pack, maybe at session 3, you're like, hey, how are things going? Send them the survey. And then at the end. So then it's like different parts of their journey, they get that survey. Conversely, if you didn't want to send them the survey and Jane at the end, you could reach out to them personally. Now, a big thing that I took away from Ashley's talk is her approach to how to ask for a review. And I have never done this, but I'm going to start using it every single time because I feel like it's absolutely genius. So she had kind of posed that people are like more inclined to say no, right? Like, Mary, you can attest to this. You weren't super pumped when I'd offered you something for free. You're like, I don't really want it. Like, no, we're just like naturally inclined to like say no. And that's just the nature of human society. So she had asked the question of like, would you be opposed to sharing your honest feedback and relating it to our profession would be like for your PT course of care? Or would you be opposed to sharing what also could have went better or improved? So I think we're so quick to be like, hey, what'd you love about PT? But also, like you said, Kelly, we want to grow. Like the reviews are here, not just for a 5-star, like you said, like aunts and uncles, like I love the 5 stars and like, thank you. Like I'm feeling good. My morale is boosted up and so is my ego, but also like, I want to grow. So like, what could I have done better? So I think we also need to be better about asking about the improvements as well as, what went well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
opposition term, go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
No, I just was agreeing. Yes.
Okay. So the opposition term is like, would you be opposed? And then they're like, yes. And you're like, what? So they're going to say no because they're going to be like, yeah, I'd love to do that for you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I think personally too, like with the video, so I didn't touch on that, but with a video testimonial, that's a great way to ask is personally, like, would you be opposed to, doing a 30-second video on your biggest takeaway from physical therapy? And then in that video, they're like, my name is so-and-so if they're comfortable. And my biggest takeaway or my biggest win from my physical therapy course of care was this. So they restate what you ask. You don't ask them directly, but they would restate that. Kelly, you've made some really good videos on that too and kind of brought that to my attention. But I think when you share that as a patient to society, it makes people see like, oh man, that could be me, So those videos are amazing if people are willing to do them. I will say from personal experience, sometimes it takes a few reminders and that's okay. That's why I'll go back to the Jane. It's just a quick button to get an email versus you having to reach out. And you guys can attest to this, but what do you think's better, the written or the verbal in terms of video or just words?
Probably video would be more powerful, I
Right.
think, because
Yeah.
I mean, then it's actual person actually saying it instead
Mhm.
of, oh, somebody's 5-year-old probably just typed up this post and just put it up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mary. I think so too. So I know as a company, we've really been pushing to get more video testimonials. So if you have patients that are comfortable on camera and wouldn't be opposed to sharing, 20, 30 seconds of a video testimonial, I would really encourage you guys to do that. Does that make sense?
Are you getting them like while they're there? Like in,
No, but that is a genius idea.
because that's what I'm thinking. Like I had
Yeah.
we had a conversation last week, and she was like
Yeah.
telling me how she didn't have a headache and how it was a big deal. And like the more I dug, the more I
Hmm.
realized this woman has actually had headaches that have put her to bed for years. And
I
so
love that.
they like were in sync with the menstrual cycle. So I was like, if she like, so I was like kind of digging like, oh, like this is a life change if
Hmm.
she is able to manage her headaches just with some of the things we're doing. And I'm like, I should have flipped it. I should have been like, hey, can you just say that on camera really quick? Or maybe you say, would you be opposed to saying that again, just like you said? But
Yes,
I
it's so
record.
good. Yes.
'Cause how
And
are
I
you
think,
doing it? Are you requesting the videos? Because my people are not going to sit down and record a video after. They aren't.
yeah. So I've been texting about it to most of my patients, being honest, and hunting them down does take a while, but they kind of like doing it more times. I feel like, but the only thing is I feel like then they spend too much time where they want to make sure like they're looking good and like they're
So
worried about sending it to me
yeah.
personally. So Kelly, I love this because you know what? That feeling is fresh. That like, transition to care, like if it's that last session and you're putting them through discharge, like let's reflect. I always say at the end, like, what were your biggest wins? Like flip, okay, are you opposed? Can you just voice these on camera? I love that. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably gonna be fine with it if they've already consented to social media anyway. So that's a great idea. Does anyone else have any other ideas before we move to the next point? No? Mary?
Sorry, it's like I got kicked off and then just came back.
You're good. You're good. Okay. So, where to put them? So, Kelly, you touched on this. Stories is great. The beauty of stories is, does anyone know?
They
No,
don't
no one
last
knows.
forever. Is that what you're going for?
Yes. So like it's low pressure. So if someone's like, "Oh, I don't know," you could just be like, "Hey, would you be opposed to just going to go on my story? It's up for 24 hours." If they're a little bit skeptical, it could be a good selling point for you to be like, "Hey, I'm just going to post it on my story. It's not going to be a post. Not everyone's going to be analyzing it, and it'll just be there for other patients if they, want to look at my highlight and see it later." And I think that's just a good way. So next is highlights. So you could take those stories, and I think the biggest piece of advice I have, use it multiple places. We've learned this as a company. If you do it once, put it multiple places. So saving in the highlight is great. If it's someone who's comfortable, you could put it in your feed, which means in your Instagram posts, and then you could share that post to your story, which then could go in the highlight. So it's like a 1, 2, 3 plug and chug kind of deal. Emails. So what I do sometimes with outreach is I will take screenshots and I will do what Kelly had voiced where you black out the name, black out any PMI, like if, they had a procedure or something, anything that's going to be identifiable to them. And then you can actually include screenshots in an email follow-up if it's someone who's like an initial outreach. So as a company, obviously we're taking care of the calls and kind of the email outreach, but if it's someone you want to follow up with, maybe after they've discharged or something, you could say, hey, I have this monthly membership plan and these are the results that some people have gotten. 3 little screenshots. That's going to be more beneficial than this long text because my eyes are going to be drawn right to those screenshots from those patients. So I think emails are great. Sometimes we don't think about them, but they are really important. And then ads. So for anyone who's running ads on the team, video and static testimonials are wonderful. And they are something that as a consumer, we want to look for, right? If we're looking at a product, like we want to see like who's wearing it, what does it look like? Or if it's, something where it's more of a procedural based or a service based business, like what were the outcomes? Like, let's see the before and after, like maybe it's, oh, like this is as high as I could get with my shoulder. So if you could get them to consent, but someone with a frozen shoulder to video them, initial time, this is it. Then by the end, they got 170 and you're good to go. So I think that too, we sometimes forget about the path, right? Like everyone wants the quick fix, but I think sometimes if we can show before and after of the testimonial, that's why we had talked about the beginning, middle, and end is sometimes nice. That really draws people into because they're like, well, I can't get better that fast, or I don't know. But if we show the journey and truly, shed light on the journey through physical therapy, I think that just builds rapport. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, that's certainly one of the things I always really work hard on with my active patients that are, just mad that they're stuck. And I always tell them, I'm like, just keep perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help help you keep perspective that you're actually getting better, because everybody's got those blinders.
I
Yes.
know if it's not
So
100%, they think that there's like, I dealt with this all day yesterday. I was like, it's just because you were not playing volleyball at full capacity, doing 5 clinics a week, doesn't mean that your ankle pain is not a little bit better. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I love that. And I think too, like, the quick fix is always the quick draw, right? In today's society. So if we can really show like where we stand in the getting better perspective via a video testimonial or, a static, it's just going to set us apart. And again, drawn back to the 270%. Like, I mean, why wouldn't we want to do it, right? So I love that. And I think we can use those testimonials in session too. So if we're getting a little bit of pushback midpoint of care, right? Like, I want to be here, but I'm not there yet. It's like, oh, hey, I had this person who actually, you're farther along than them. We can even bring those up midpoint too, maybe not directly, but like some of the little snippets of feedback that we've received, and just, like Mary had said, give them a little reassurance so they feel heard. Okay. So, Mike, here you go. Google Business Profile, where to gather them. So the Google Business Profile is great. Big 3 things that Ashley kind of touched on is recency, frequency, and quality. So I think those are big. Kelly, you had mentioned the quality. It's okay if they're not always, that 5-star. I would completely agree. I think where I want to take this is Kelly and Brandon's Google Business pages are super reputable and super buttoned up. I was reading one on Brandon's. He's not here today, but it was like, he's the unicorn of personal trainers and physical therapists. I'm like, unicorn? Like, I want to go see you. So like, that was like really short and sweet, like from me just kind of delving into both Kelly and Brandon's. And then Kelly, you had one that was like, Kelly is absolutely the best. I would, refer anyone to her seeking out physical therapy services. So it's not like this long thing, but like after reading those 2 things, I'm like, I'm good. I'm sold. So I think like, if you guys have some time, I would go peek at their pages, both Kelly and Brandon, and just take a peek at some of the reviews and the responses that they've given, just because I think it's good for us to grow from those who've done an excellent job with that. And I think, Mike, you had asked.
Shania, can you move your camera down just a little bit so we can see that below? Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. And then, Mike, you had asked about gathering them on there. I think it's a great, and honestly, maybe I'm a little biased, but I think it's one of the best places, because when someone's searching for physical therapy services near me and we come up, they can literally look at those reviews there. And I think the more we can gather on Google, you can literally screenshot them from Google and then put them on, the Instagram feed, which then can be shared to the story, which then can be put in the highlights. So I think it's really important to try to gather them on Google too in that business profile, because I mean, if we look up a business, right, we're going to look at their Google business profile and see the reviews there. So Kelly, do you want to speak a little bit to this? Because I know you're a true expert in this realm.
I'm just thinking I haven't done that. That's a great, like, those are my next stories for like the next 2 weeks. I'm going to screen.
Yeah, you have amazing ones.
That's a great idea. But I was saying, like, because Mike is a newer provider with us, right? And so you'll be just getting your Google business page like up and going soon. And so when you get that, you can like send those to old patients, right? Like patients that you've kept in touch with. It doesn't have to be like from the ones you're going to see with Concierge Ortho. Like you have a probably a following and like all of these people that you for all these years. So you can grab that link from the Google business, like the admin side, which you'll learn how to use, and you can send that link out to any and everybody. And I'm just thinking there's probably even more ways we can utilize this on our website, even like links.
For me, let's go. That part of it was even organization. If they give it to me, now there's the risk of me putting it somewhere or losing it or not having it. Where if I drive them to Google and they do it, right now it's in a third party. I can get it when I need it, but I wasn't the person that had it and left it on the desk or disappeared. And I'm like, where is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is like, if there's a less barrier to entry, I'm more likely to leave a review, right? Like if someone sends me this thing and it's like questions that are like this long, I'm like, nope. Like that's why Jane is sometimes nice at the beginning, middle, and end, because they can just literally just click. And then for Google, like they can just write a little quick blurb. It can be one sentence, it can be a few words, it can be what they want. And I think that just like lowers the threshold of them being opposed to wanting to do it. So I think that's great. I think that we really need to focus on testimonials as a whole. So one last thing that Kelly had kind of touched on before I open up for questions and we kind of finish up here is the landing pages. So our goal as a company is to have really good, solid reviews on that landing page. And if you have them on your Google business profile, we can take those, screenshot them, and put them directly on your landing page. So if you're someone who's looking to, be more reputable and have more reviews, I would just encourage you to ask for them. And I love, Kelly, that you mentioned old patients, because that is a great place to start. Like if you're like, oh man, like I had all these good outcomes, but like now they're just like gone. It's like, no, like if your patient had a good experience, they're gonna be more than willing to share, even though if it's been like a year, 2 years, etc. So yeah, I love that. And Mike, if you want to try to do that and get some up there, we would love to put those on your landing page too. And then same with you, Mary, if you're looking to kind of update some things and, ramp up, we'd be happy to assist you as well. And that goes for anyone else on the team if you're watching this.
Now, I did know a physician that used to offer some kind of swag if you went on and did a Google review. It didn't matter what the review was, but if you actually completed a Google review, he would give you a cup. Not sure how that fits in or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had like
there's a guy here in town that does that as well. They have gift cards, and if you offer, they don't ask for 5 stars. They just say, if you complete a review while you are in the office, we will give you a gift card to like a $5 gift card to Starbucks, which I think is actually like probably a fantastic idea just to have those and be
it
like,
was very effective in getting people to leave reviews.
Yeah. And I think we could go a step further. Like if you don't even want to do the Starbucks and you want to build your own kind of, bank, if you will, you could just say, hey, I'll give you $5 to $10 off, 10% off your next service or package, for another course of care. Or if you refer somebody, like they could get that. But again, it's hard if it's at the end, right? Because we're like, we want to give them something instantly, and it might not be time for them to continue with care at that point. So I think that can be up to the provider discretion, but if you want to do a little discount on a session, like that's a great way too. I know some of our providers have done that in the past.
I was just kind of thinking the same thing. If something like for a testimonial, like another like 5-10 minutes of like added to a session or to use for video chat, like a
check-in.
brief video, chat.
Really
if you can't make it in or you need some extra ideas or help, it's like get a free video call.
Great. That's great. And I think, it can be as big or as little as we want. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, if you're getting some pushback, like, okay, let's crank the incentives up. Or, if people are more than willing, like some people don't care. They don't want anything. They just want to help. So, well, let's keep that in our back of our mind. But I just want to thank you guys all for hopping on today and kind of going over this. This seems like a rudimentary topic, but I know personally I could improve. I felt like it would be beneficial for you all to kind of hear a little bit more about how we can gather them, how we can be better, and how we can grow. Because at the end of the day, like, we want to build trust so that people trust to come see us, and that helps not only our revenue, but our reputability. So I think that's really important. But I do want to open it up if anyone has any questions. We have a few more minutes here. No questions?
I'm totally going to go post right now. Like I'm going to get and do it right in a second.
That's good. Okay, awesome. So our next sales call is going to be the second to last week of October. It's going to be 4 p.m. So just stay tuned for that on your calendars. And we're excited to have Kelly talk on a new discussion. And we're always here, guys. If you have questions about anything we went over today, if you're watching this back, give us a shout out and we'd be happy to help.
And we are introducing coaching calls. So like coaching calls can be, I want to take a look at my Instagram page, or I want to look at can you show me how to send out reviews for group? Like it's really just for whatever each provider needs. Like if you show up, you can raise your hand, you can ask a question. If you're the only one there, then I will spend 30 minutes with just you going over whatever you want to talk about, like whatever helps you. So that'll be on the weeks when we do not have the sales call. So we will have one of those next week. Right now I have it put down for Wednesday, I believe, but the time I haven't set because I was going to see if people had any feedback of like a convenient time. So if y'all have that, be sure to shoot me an email. And I'm excited to get those coaching calls going for everybody. So thanks for coming. And I can't
Thanks, you
go
guys.
with some of these Google reviews like right now. So thank you,
Good.
Shania.
Yeah. Thank